Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, Mr. Hitler Seketla from the South African Council for Social Service Professionals, our Director of School, Professor Zoleka Soji, our Head of Department, Professor Fiona Goliath, colleagues in academia, and last but not least, our fourth-year students. My name is Nozipho Hokonya, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Department of Social Development Professions' fourth-year pledge ceremony. This afternoon, we have the great privilege of witnessing 8 of our final year students commit to abiding by the ethical guidelines of the profession of social work, whilst also undertaking to be guided by the values and principles that underpin our noble profession. I will now call upon our Head of Department in the Department of Social Development Professions, Professor Fiona Goliath, to deliver the Head of Department's address. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Fiona Goliath.
Okay. Good afternoon, parents, our students, our honored guests, Professor Soji and all our colleagues, and Mr. Sekatla from the Council. We are very grateful that you joined us today, and it's a special privilege to have our students here. And I just want to add that they've pushed for the pledge to be on this platform. We said we'll do it online, and they said no, they've been online for too long. So thank you for bringing us out here today and allowing us to see just how glamorous you look. Gosh, I'm so glad I didn't have my hair done because you did it all for us. You look really beautiful. Yeah. To all of the family members and the students that are here, I think the quote by our late Tata Mandela would ring very true. That says, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." And I think for our students, you are absolute testimonies that when life knocks you down, that you get back up again. And we really salute you today for standing here and proving that to all of us. We know that this has been a difficult journey, and it's been a hard journey, and we know that life is hard. The times that we live in is very hard. We don't mix our words around that. But knowing that, we also know that we are capable of rising beyond and above those odds. One of the key writers on resilience says that suffering can make us bitter, but resilience makes us better. And where you are today has shown that you really are committed and devoted to wanting to be social workers. And social work is an incredibly noble profession. We don't get paid $1 million. It's really a profession where you work for the passion and for the love of it, not for the money. And our students that have stood the test of time really show us that you have the commitment to work with passion and to work with drive and to really work for the real purpose of why you've saddled up this journey. I want to remind you that the clients that you are going to work with are somebody's daughters and somebody's sons. It's somebody's parents. It's somebody's grandmother, Makulu, Tata. And that we treat them with the honor and the respect that they deserve. They have lived their lives up to this point, and we don't go in to be their rescuers or their saviors. We want to learn with them and from them what are the ways that they've managed to get to where they are. And the reason for them coming to you is simply to be a facilitator, to be that person that can now hook them in and say, let's journey together. We're not going a step ahead of them. We're not going a step behind them. We go alongside them. So that means really making time to get to know the person, behind the suffering that you might see. And when people come to you, they really gift you with their vulnerabilities. It's an incredible gift for somebody to trust you with their deepest of hurt and pain and with their challenges. And the best way for us to honor that is to really show up in our full being, that we show up with professionalism and we show up with our integrity. If we say that this is the time for the appointment, that we are there before the appointment time, that we are there and the venue has been prepared, that we have prepared ourselves professionally. You've gone to read up again about the method of social work that you have to practice, if it's casework, if it's group work, that we don't take anything for granted. And the environment from where our clients come from does not justify us giving any form of inferior service. That a client that comes to you living in Summerstrand deserves the same respect and honor and dedication and time as a client that comes from Kleinskool or Missionville. And so there's no distinction. We are gifted with the gift of people's lives and the responsibility to treat it with care and respect. So I really just want to endorse that our colleagues sitting here have done an amazing job. And I really have to mention Mrs. Amanda Carlitz because she's been a key part of your journey. And you know how she's drilled the helping process into you, right? And the key methods that you use and the phases of the helping process. So I really want to honor our colleagues here today as well for standing by our students and guiding them and supporting them and really never giving up. And our colleague from the council will speak to you today about professional ethics, so you don't hear me touch too much on it. But I do want to emphasize that this university, your alma mater, has really sacred values of integrity and respect and Ubuntu, and for us to be good custodians of our environment as well, and of social justice, and that we have to internalize those values. It must become visible through every day that you show up, how you dress for your practicals, how you present yourself to your clients, how you are when you are with them in the community. So I want to conclude, students, by saying that if you thought you were adulting before, you are now going to really adult, because you're going to have to get up in time to be at the place on time, at the time that the office opens, and you're going to have to be there for the full working day, for 3 days a week, for the duration of the semester, and you're going to have a caseload of clients that you respond to, and group work that you're going to run, and a community project in which you're going to work. And there's supervisors that's going to have expectations, not demands, expectations. And they have responsibilities too. And you're going to have at the place of work, you're also going to have supervisors that are there to guide you, not to boss and oppress and dominate, but to guide. So if you go in with a teachable spirit, the colleagues respond in a similar way. And so let us serve with humility and grace. And I really just want to wish you all of the very best and salute your families and your parents for standing with you and by you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Professor Goliath, for those very inspiring words of wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Mr. Selaka Hitler Sekitla, who is the Professional Conduct Manager at the South African Council for Social Service Professionals. Mr. Sekitla is a seasoned social worker with many years of experience in the field. In 2003, he graduated from the University of Pretoria with a Bachelor of Social Science degree majoring in social work. In 2007, he successfully completed a Human Resources Management qualification from the University of South Africa, with the same institution awarding him a qualification in Advanced Labor Dispute Resolution Practice. Not long after, Mr. Sekitla was awarded certification in the same field. In addition, Mr. Sekitla possesses short program qualifications in public relations, public procurement, supply management, strategic and financial management. He has completed a master's in coursework in employee assistance programs at the University of Pretoria, and he is currently a final year student at the University of South Africa, where he is studying law. Mr. Sekitla is a registered social worker with the South African Council for Social Service Professionals, and he has vast knowledge and experience of the social service sector at practice, employee-employer relations, and policy level. He is a former trade unionist who has represented workers' interests in the social service sector, and he is also a former board member and executive committee member of the Health and Welfare SETA. Mr. Sekitla is a member of the Social Development Ministerial Committee on the review of the White Paper for Social Welfare, and he also serves as an executive committee member of the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council. He is also an executive member of the South African Council for Social Service Professionals, and he is a member of the Public Health and Social Development Sectoral Bargaining Council, and he also serves as a part-time commissioner and assessor at the Commission for Conciliation, Arbitration and Mediation's Essential Services Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Selaka Hitler Sekitla.
Thanks, Program Director, distinguished guests, and our students. We really appreciate the invitation from the Nelson Mandela University, and also want to appreciate you for keeping to the tradition and ensuring that annually you have the oath-taking ceremony. I'm trying to share the presentation, and my system is failing me this side, but without wasting time, will allow me to continue with this slide presentation. Then we will circulate it to you. Unfortunately, our IT is not here to assist me now, but I do not want to waste time. Now, we want firstly to congratulate our fourth-year students for making this far, and it's a huge milestone, and we believe that you will make us proud and complete your studies. And actually, this oath-taking ceremony, you should take it as a precursor towards your graduation ceremony. It's going to be a nice event. Now, the most important thing that we want to highlight is that the social work profession is regulated and highly so in that, and it's regulated by the South African Council for Social Service Professions, which is your statutory body. And amongst other things, our responsibility is to protect and promote the interest of the profession and ensure, amongst others, that only those who are registered, including yourself as fourth-year students, only practice social work. It's our responsibility to maintain and enhance the prestige, status, integrity, and dignity of the professions. It's our responsibility to regulate the practicing of the professions, and amongst that, we do that by ensuring that we set the minimum standard of registrations for you to be a student social worker or a social worker. It's our responsibility to determine the standards of professional conduct, in that, hence, we are having what we call the Code of Ethics. It's our responsibility to ensure effective control over the professional conduct of professionals, in that, in the event a student social worker or a social worker is found to have conducted him or herself in an unprofessional or improper manner, it's our responsibility to conduct an investigation into those allegations. Now, the other issue that we need to emphasize is the issue of the values and the principles that we as social service professionals, including yourself as student social workers, you should aspire and subscribe to. One of those values is the value of social justice, in that we as social workers, we must challenge social injustices in pursuit of social change on behalf of vulnerable and disadvantaged individuals, families, groups, and communities. The other value includes the value of respect for people's worth, human right, and dignity. And in that regard, we are called as social workers to accord appropriate respect to the fundamental human rights, dignity, and worth of all human beings. We must ensure that as social service professionals, we are competent and we must strive to maintain high standards of competence in our work. The principle or the value of integrity, we must ensure that we behave in a honest manner at all material times. We must be honest at all material times. And I always tell people that being honest costs nothing, but dishonesty can cost you your career, because if you were to be found, there's a complaint against you and you were to be found to be dishonest, there is a possibility that council may take your registration away. And you can imagine that all the efforts over the years that you have put in may go into the dustbin. So we encourage that we behave in an honest manner and ensure that we are people of honor and integrity at all material times. We must ensure that we take professional responsibility and uphold professional standards of conduct, clarify our social work rules and obligations, accept responsibility for our behavior, and adapt our methods to the needs of different client systems. We must show care and concern for others' well-being and ensure that we recognize the importance of human relations. And as social workers, we must ensure that we do not exploit or mislead other human beings during and after termination of our social work relationships. And in terms of service delivery, it's our role or our primary goal as social workers to ensure or to assist client systems and address social needs and social problems. It's our responsibility to elevate our services to others above our self-interest. So that is very, very much important. So that's why the motto for council is non-based, not for ourselves, to ensure that everything that we do it on behalf of our clients. Now, in terms of the principle of integrity of the profession, we must work towards the maintenance and the promotion of high standards of practice. So in a nutshell, these are our principles or values that all of us must aspire and subscribe to. The other element that I want to raise is the issue of the code of ethics, because we normally say we need to adhere to the code of ethics. But what is the code of ethics? It's a list of statements that describes the standards of professional conduct required of us as practitioners when we carry out our daily activities. So these standards must ensure that they set forth specific enforceable rules of conduct. And these rules are becoming part of the law. So the code of ethics is part of the law. My apology, my camera was off all along and you couldn't see my face, but students, you are social, you are agent of social change. You're supposed to do it and stop the presentation until you see my face. But be as it may, thanks very much for alerting me in that regard. Now, the part of this code of ethics, as social service professionals, we have a responsibility to devote our professional knowledge and skills scientifically for the benefit of each individual, group, community, and mankind. And as social service professionals, we have a responsibility or a primary obligation to render quality services in a professional and ethical manner at all material terms. Is very, very much important. Now, as you go out there to practice, as you are preparing, because today we are preparing you, you will be expected to say you have ethical responsibility towards the profession. And part of you is to ensure that you remain honest at all material times and you perform your duties. Because one of the challenges that we come across is practitioners who become negligent, who become dishonest. They don't want to perform their duties, or they neglect their work and they neglect their clients in their communities. And the challenge that we experience is that, remember, one social worker is too many. When in the community members complain about their social work, they don't complain about you. They say social workers are bad. So they don't say Hitler is a bad person. They say social workers are bad. So it's important that at all material times, we protect our profession and the name of our profession. Further to that, we'll also have ethical responsibility towards the client system. We must make sure that we maintain confidentiality in terms of the information that they will be sharing with us. We must make sure that we maintain only professional relationships with clients. We must refrain from taking gifts or incentives. We must also ensure that when we are dealing with clients' monies, we must administer those monies in a professional manner and not take anything that does not belong to us. The other element that we need to emphasize is the process of termination of professional working relationships. So when you have been allocated to work and you are about to resign to take some other work somewhere, it's important that you terminate your services in a professional manner by informing clients well in advance that you will be leaving a particular organization because of 1, 2, 3. And this will be a test for you because towards the end of the year, you will be completing your practicals. Please make sure that you terminate your services in a professional manner. And if there's outstanding work, make sure that you refer those particular cases to your supervisor or your social workers in the communities. Ensure that there's continuation of service rendering. You are expected to have ethical responsibility towards your colleagues to ensure that you respect your colleagues at all material times. You consult where you do not understand and ensure that you refer clients for services so that services can be rendered. You will also have to be expected to have ethical responsibility towards the broader community, and our responsibility as social workers that we need to contribute in social development within our communities. The other element that we need to do is to ensure that we participate in public emergencies. So one thing about social work, it cannot be that when it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're about to go home and there's an emergency. You pack your bags and leave. You must participate in solving or attending into that public emergency. So you cannot say, I'm leaving, it's 4 o'clock. Social workers work throughout. But at the point in time, there will be a need for you to take responsibility in terms of the overload of work that you have. But under a situation of public emergencies, please ensure that you participate and assist in intervening in your communities. So those are some of the issues that we want to highlight to you because these are some of the problems that we experience in practice. And we want you to be a model. When you get into the communities, they see a different character in you as social workers. So you are a new breed that's going to start practicing, and we want to see change or difference in terms of how you conduct yourself in the communities. The other issue that we need to emphasize, and in particular amongst young people, that social work is a different profession. The manner that our dress code is very, very, very much important, colleagues. We are going to translate from being a student to be a fully fledged social work professional. Now, the manner that you dress within your community is also going to play a huge role in terms of how people relate to you. So you're going to need to do a mind shift in terms of how you dress and ensure that, not to say currently you are not dressing properly and so forth, but please make sure that when you get to the community, they can see and identify with you as a social worker. Now, why student oath taking? Now, in terms of the Social Service Professions Act, social workers, social auxiliary workers, and child and care worker students must register and take oath from second year of their studies. So we want to believe from second year you did this, but the minute you start to be allowed to engage into practicums, you must ensure that you take an oath to ensure that you serve humanity. Now, what are the values of oath taking? Oath taking involves a solemn declaration by each student that you will uphold the values and principles of our profession, which is social work. It is an undertaking or a commitment for one to honor the profession and always adhere to the ethical code of the profession. It is an affirmation of why you as a student social worker chose to become a professional and you chose to serve humanity. So you are binding yourself to say, I want to serve humanity. And it is also a reminder to you as students why you came to this institution we call Nelson Mandela University to pursue a professional career. So today it's a reminder as to why are you here or why have you been here for the past 3 or 4 years. So it's important that you also appreciate yourself and ensure that when you go out there, you make us proud as our new social workers to ensure that you render services in a quality manner. And thanks very much for attending this particular session, and thanks for inviting us. Thanks, Program Director.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sekitla, for those words for our students and highlighting the importance of students abiding by the ethical code of our profession and the values of social work. I will now call upon Ms. Nadine Zima, who will read the oath in isiXhosa.
Ukuvakalisa ngokunyanisekileyo. Mna Nadine Zima, ongumfundi okunyaka wokugqibela kwizifundo zobuntlalontle eNelson Mandela University, ndivakalisa ukuba ndikholelwa kukwahluka kuxanduva lokuzenzela izigqibo kwixabiso nesidima somntu ngamnye kungekho calucalulo ngokwewonga, inkcubeko, isini, inkolo, indlela yokuphila nezinye iintlobo zokwahlukana. Kumalungelo oluntu, intlalo yobulungisa nokulingana kwabantu bonke. Kubambiswano loluntu olukhokhela kwintlalontle yelizwe. Ukuba wonke umntu unakho ukuguquka, ukhula nokuziphuhlisa ngokuboniswa ngabanye abantu ngamava endinawo ngobomi. Ngoko ke, ngokunyanisekileyo ndigqiba ukuba ngamaxesha onke ndiziphathe ngohlobo oluyakuba yinzuzo kumsebenzi wobizo lobuntlalontle, kubantu endisebenza ngabo abafuna uncedo nakubantu endisebenza nabo kwimibutho yenkonzo zoncedo. Ndiya kuzama ngako konke enginakho ukusebenzela uluntu nelizwe, ndincedisane nokuphucula ukusebenzisana ekuhlaleni. Ndisoloko ndinamathele kwimimiselo, ndilandele imigaqo obekiweyo kumthetho wentlalontle we-110 ka-1978 okuguqulweyo, yaye ndiyazamkela ngokupheleleyo iziphumo zokungathobeli imigaqo ekhankanyiweyo. Kususela ngoku, ndiyakuziphatha ndibonakale njengommeli weNelson Mandela University nakumsebenzi wobizo lobuntlalontle, ndithembisa ukuthembeka kweli ziko likhankanyiweyo nakubizo wam. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. I will now call upon Ms. Keisha Meyer, who will read the oath in Afrikaans.
Plegtige verklaring. As finalejaar student in maatskaplike werk aan die Nelson Mandela Metropolitaanse Universiteit verklaar ek hiermee plegtig dat ek glo in die uniekheid, selfbeskikkingsreg en die waardigheid van alle mense, ongeag hul status, kultuur, geslag, geloofsoortuiging, lewenstyl en diversiteit. In menseregte, maatskaplike geregtigheid en gelykwaardigheid vir almal. In 'n gesamentlike verantwoordelikheid vir die welstand van die groter gemeenskap. In die vermoë van alle mense om te verander, te groei en te ontwikkel. Ek onderneem dus plegtig om ten alle tye myself so te handhaaf dat my gedrag tot voordeel van die professie van maatskaplike werk my kliëntesisteme, kollegas en maatskaplike diensorganisasies sal wees. Om selfloos my medemense en die gemeenskap te dien en ten alle tye te streef na die bevordering van hul effektiewe maatskaplike funksionering. Om ten alle tye myself te onderwerp aan die etiese kode soos vervat in die wet op maatskaplike diensprofessies, wet 110 van 1978 soos gewysig en ten volle die verantwoordelikheid te aanvaar vir die gevolge wat mag voorspruit uit die nie-handhawing van hierdie voorskrifte. Voortaan sal ek optree en myself ag as teenwoordiger van NMMU en die professie maatskaplike werk en verklaar hiermee plegtig my loyaliteit aan my alma mater en my professie. Dankie.
Thank you, Keisha. I will now lead students to undertake the oath in English. Students, please stand and repeat after me. I, Nozipho Hokonya, a final year social work student at Nelson Mandela University, hereby declare that I believe in the uniqueness, responsibility of self-determination, and ultimate worth and dignity of every human being, irrespective of status, culture, gender, religion, lifestyle, and other differences.
Final year social work student at Nelson Mandela University, hereby declare that I believe in the uniqueness, responsibility, self-determination, and ultimate worth and dignity of every human being, irrespective of status, culture, gender, religion, lifestyle, and other differences.
I believe in human rights, social justice, and equality for all people.
I believe in human rights, social justice, and equality for all people.
I believe in collective human responsibility for the well-being of society, and I believe in the capacity of all people to change, grow, and develop.
I believe in collective human responsibility for the well-being of society, and I believe in the capacity of all people to change, grow, and develop.
I therefore solemnly undertake to at all times conduct myself in such a manner that will be to the benefit of the profession of social work, its clients, colleagues, and social service organizations.
I therefore solemnly undertake to at all times conduct myself in such a manner that will be to the benefit of the profession of social work, its clients, colleagues, and social service organizations.
I undertake to selflessly serve my fellow human beings and the community, and at all times strive for the enhancement of their effective social functioning.
I undertake to selflessly serve my fellow human beings and the community at all times and to strive for the enhancement of the effective social functioning.
I undertake to always adhere to the ethical code of the profession as contained in the Social Services Act 110 of 1978 as amended, and I solemnly undertake to accept the consequences that may result from non-compliance with these provisions.
I undertake to always adhere to the ethical code of the profession as contained in the Social Services Act 110 of 1978 as amended, and I solemnly undertake to accept the consequences that may result from non-compliance with these provisions.
Henceforth, I will act and be perceived as a representative of Nelson Mandela University and the profession of social work, and herewith pledge my loyalty to my alma mater and my profession.
Henceforth, I will act and be perceived as a representative of Nelson Mandela University and the profession of social work, and herewith pledge my loyalty to my alma mater and my profession.
Thank you. You may be seated. I will now call upon Professor Fiona Goliath, who will present the students with their certificates. Prof. Goliath. Students, when your name is called out, please may you come to the front, shake Professor Goliath's hand, and pose for a picture as your certificate is presented to you. Once you have your certificate, you may take your seat. Bulelwa Pefile. Siphokazi Kokoma. Janine Camis. Kirsty Mahala. Nadine Zima. Ruth DeFos. Keisha Meyer. Another round of applause for our students, please. Prof. Goliath will now present her closing remarks to officially end the ceremony. Prof. Goliath.
Okay, usually we have a number of colleagues participate in the ceremony, but we weren't sure if colleagues' calendars would allow. So, yeah, it gives me really a great honor to start with Ms. Okonya. Thank you, Ms. Okonya, for all the arrangements and preparations for today's event, for yielding the students' request to have this on this platform, and really for getting such a beautiful venue. And, you know, they were taking pictures from the parking area right through the entrance. So we're really grateful to be on this stunning campus. Thank you, Professor Soji, amidst an incredibly busy schedule, for honoring us with your presence. I'm really sorry we didn't get to hear you speak, but understand that it was a really tight schedule, but thank you for your presence, means a lot to us. Thank you to all of our colleagues for being here, and thank you to all the parents, the grandparents, the whole community that is behind the students and that have stood by them. And last but not least, thank you to our students for persevering and showing up today, and really all the very best for the way forward. I also want to thank Mr. Seketla. I don't know if he's still online, but we're grateful for the time that he's invested, and also for very important reminders that he gave us about our professional conduct, and yeah, for just being available. And we're so grateful for online that allows him to speak to us from Johannesburg. Thank you to our in Afrikaans is it Staatmaker, Philip. There's so many things. You've been in and out of the department the past week. And yeah, Philip just leaves gems around wherever he goes. So thank you for being here with your team today, your entire team, for the videoizing and for getting the online system going. And for Boitumelo that's taking the pictures for us, and for the catering that has been prepared. So we also bless those hands that have prepared it, and where that money has come from, we pray for multiplication. Okay. So all of the very best, please stay and enjoy what has been prepared for you, and go well. Thanks, everybody.